Okay then guys, what's going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we have got a load of information for you guys. Some information coming from Joseph Pipora over on Twitter, or X as it is now, and we also have a load of information about malignant hearts, how to keep them safe, and certain ones that are just destroying the experience for other players. With that being said, if you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also check out our sponsor Advanced GG, the #1 clinically proven energy supplement on the market. My favorite flavor is cherry vanilla, but you guys can grab an array of different flavors down on the link in the description and utilize code CLOUD for a cheeky discount at checkout. Thank you so much again for watching, and let's dive on in to some Diablo 4 news. So we're starting off with this post right here from Cam posting up on Twitter saying, Joe Pipora, apologies if this has been mentioned, but what's up with the spawn location in the World Tier 3 Capstone dungeon? This was further than the entrance to the dungeon when I'm trying to kill Ilias. Now, the problem with this is it's happening absolutely everywhere, including the Capstone dungeons, normal dungeons, nightmare dungeons. If you die, you're getting sprung all the way back, and sometimes in this case, as you can see, it's taking him further back than what the actual entrance is. Now, Joseph Pipora states, this is something we've been reported for a number of dungeons and we're looking into it. Fingers crossed we can get a quick fix by this one quite soon, as it does take a lot of tough time. It takes up so much damn time just being able to maneuver back to the boss where you were taken out previously, whereas just respawning you at the entrance of the boss fight would have been the better move for sure. Now, we've approached this tweet a few times over the last few days, but Joseph Pipora stated about making it 100% for loot goblins to actually drop a legendary. That is absolutely brilliant. It's happening over 50 levels and plus. Now, somebody also put a comment on there which has kickstarted quite a lot, stating, every time there is someone with the Barber heart in the party, my build stops working because I depend on hitting and damaging monsters. Could you please change it to absorb only the damage of the person using it? Joseph Pipora states, we'll look into that. Now, there is a lot of different reports with regards to the Barber heart over on Reddit as well, such as this one right here, who states, am I the only one that thinks Barber heart is ruining the game experience for other players? I mean, it's good for more damage and boss fights, but when someone in my party uses it, I can't really see my damage numbers or apply any skill effects like poison as a rogue. Seeing the health bar not going down also makes me thinking if I'm doing damage to the mobs. What do you guys think of this heart? Now, we have a bit of a look at the heart right now, and this is it here, the caged heart of the Barber. Now, it states critical strikes and all subsequent damage within 2.0 and 4.0 seconds is absorbed by your target. Then, the absorbed damage erupts onto surrounding enemies. Stored damage is increased by 11% per second. There is a lot of issues going on with this, as we have another post right here that states Wrathful Heart of the Barber is kind of insane and bad at the same time. So I got this heart on my TB Rogue pretty early into tier 4 and equipped it for testing. I gotta say, this thing has insane damage potential, but it seems to have a big problem with it while playing group content. So basically what it does, as soon as you crit, you pretty much barely to don't damage the enemy at all for the full duration of the power. After it's absorbed all the damage, it explodes quite heavily to very big numbers. Now, the bad part of it is it absorbs the damage from other players as well. Doesn't matter grouping or just overworld activities. I was doing a Legion event and the bosses dramatically didn't take any damage for the duration of the absorb, and after that it basically one-shot the boss. I don't know how I feel about that, because in some cases it slows down and it doesn't seem fun for other players to not see any damage on the boss health bar for all the duration apart from the big crit after it explodes. Even worse, you can't do anything against it. If anyone in the party in the open world runs that, you just have to live with it. Opinions. Now, I do not like the idea of this whatsoever. I feel like it completely takes takes away from build opportunities, and this means that if you guys have got certain build aspects, like we were just saying with the rogue having a poison affix on their movement, the actual burns and stuff like that don't apply too well. So it's really frustrating to know that this is applying to a group activity, because if you go and do a world boss or a legion event like this guy did, it's going to cause a lot of issues for a lot of players. It also takes the fun out of it when you see the bar drop down quite quickly, especially if there's quite a few of you. Takes the fun out of it completely. But this is just something which I think we're going to have to deal with until they eventually fix it. It does seem to be something that they are looking into, though, based on Joe Pypora's response. Let me know your guys' opinions down in the comment section below. I don't feel like this should be forced upon players who don't want to use it. Although, if this is something that people are wanting to use, this is a really quick way of being able to use it without actually having to socket it inside of your group. So it does have its swings and roundabouts. But let me know in the comment section what you guys are thinking about this Malignant Heart. Now, while we're talking about Malignant Hearts, though, Icy Veins actually posted up an article stating a warning about Malignant Heart inventory management. Now, this should be completely obvious, but for those of you guys who don't know, they state here, here's a pretty basic tip that you probably figured out already, but just in case it didn't occur to some players, we thought it best to remind them. This probably happened to some players with regular gems even before the season, as moving them around your inventory without paying too much attention can lead to them being stuck in socketed items. However, while that isn't a problem for regular items because they can be unsocketed, it's a massive problem for Malignant Hearts. If you get a heart stuck in a random inventory item, you can't take it out no matter what. They can only be replaced, they can't be pushed over. So be careful when moving around these socketed items. We wouldn't want you to lose your valuable wrathful ones, or a high level one you need for a build. This is something which you would think was quite obvious, but a lot of people have been making this mistake. With gems, especially like with being on PC, you won't have this problem on console, but on PC you manually maneuver everything around so you can organize your inventory the way you want to. Now, if you do manage to hover it over something incorrectly and socket it, you cannot take it out the same way you can unsocket a gem via the Oculist. Now, there has been some really big talks right now about the comparison behind Diablo 4 and Path of Exile, with them having the Exile Con just recently. There's been a post which is blown up on Reddit, which I think actually holds a very solid point, and it states, if Diablo 4 had as many features as Path of Exile, most of its player base would quit. This is something PoE players need to understand. Your game is nice. I've played 3 seasons of PoE, but its biggest flaw is something called feature creep. Every season I've played, by the time I get to maps, my stash and inventory is filled with so many baubles and curious that I simply get overwhelmed. I looked one of them up and see that I need 3 other pieces that require other pieces to access those pieces. I am still one of those players that gives up trying to find a fractured wall in Delve. I have no idea how to play high state efficiently. There's a system where you have to interrogate, release or kill some people, and it's presented like the Pepe Sylvia board, and I just clicked whatever and have no clue if it's right or not. There is a load of stuff in between. Essentially what we're reading from this though is that there is so many different complexities inside of Path of Exile that there is so much more to dive into that if this was in Diablo 4, most people just wouldn't even bother with it. Now, Diablo 4 has its flaws. It actually has a bunch, but I think it has a good shell and can only get better. Path of Exile is what it is. You either understand it or you don't. And if you are the latter, the dev team is going to ignore you entirely to focus on its hardcore player base, which is a very solid point indeed. And I think that that's something that we need to take into consideration. There's been so many comparisons from Diablo 4 to the new Path of Exile that's been showcased for next year, I believe. And there is a lot going on there. A lot of people complaining that Diablo 4 is dead and it's washed and it's in the water. But realistically, this game actually holds a very solid fan base, and most people can pick it up and understand it relatively quickly. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you a PoE or a D4 in the comment section below? Or are you open-minded and willing to play both and appreciate them for what they are? And a really quick PSA, this one posted up on Reddit as well. Really quickly, before we end the video, you can salvage sigils at the blacksmith. Now, this post actually states, as the title says, just figured this out, saves you a trip to the oculist. And I had no bloody clue at all. I had no idea, but that is absolutely amazing. And the comment section says that it's helped out a lot of people. So hopefully this helped you out as well. And if it did, reward the video with a beautiful blue thumbs up. And as always, all the links are down in the description for you guys to go and check out the original posts. Thanks again for watching, guys. Appreciate all of your faces. If you haven't already, like, subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the clouds.